It was Christmas Eve, 1945, in the quiet hills of Fayetteville, West Virginia. Snow blanketed the ground, and the Sodder family home glowed with warmth. Inside, George and Jennie Sodder celebrated the holiday with 9 of their 10 children. They were a close-knit family, immigrants from Italy who had built a life through hard work and deep love. Their home was modest but full of life, laughter, stories, and the quiet joy of being together. At around 1:00 a.m., George Sodder was jolted awake by a sharp sound, like wires snapping under tension. Moments later, the lights went out. His wife, Jennie, smelled smoke. She rushed to wake the children. But 5 of them, Maurice, 14, Martha, 12, Louis, 9, Betty, 8, and Sylvia, 7, were already gone from their upstairs room. Flames erupted from the second floor, quickly engulfing the roof. George tried to reach the children, but the stairs collapsed under him. The fire spread with terrifying speed. Neighbors arrived, but help was too late. By morning, only the charred foundation remained. What followed was not closure, but confusion. Despite the fire, no human remains were found, not a single bone, tooth, or fragment. Experts agree, a wood fire, even a hot one, cannot completely destroy 5 bodies. Yet the official investigation claimed the children had burned to ash, with no evidence, no autopsy, and no follow-up. Among the debris, personal items survived: a child's shoe, a schoolbook, a hairbrush, and a doll, burned but still recognizable. If the fire spared a toy, why not a body? Suspicion began to grow. The phone line to the house had been cut cleanly, 30 feet from the structure, not burned, but severed. The latter the family kept by the house. Their only way to rescue children from the second floor was missing. Neighbors later confirmed it had been gone before the fire started. There was no emergency response. The fire department arrived over 30 minutes later. No one attempted a proper rescue. No investigation into the cause of the fire was ever completed. The fire chief dismissed it as an electrical fault, without inspecting the wiring. The Sodders refused to accept this. They believed their children were not dead, but taken. Over the years, they launched their own investigation. They hung missing posters. They offered rewards. They spoke to reporters. They demanded answers, and were met with silence. In 1968, 23 years after the fire, Jennie Sodder received a photograph in the mail. On the back, a handwritten note: Louis Sodder. The young man in the photo bore a striking resemblance to her son. The same eyes, the same face. A private detective traced the photo to a bus station in Kentucky, but the trail vanished. Was it a hoax? A cruel prank? Or proof that at least one of the children had survived? Theories emerged. One suggests the fire was a cover-up. George Sodder had publicly criticized Mussolini during World War II. Some believe pro-fascist groups targeted the family. The cut phone line, the missing ladder, the lack of remains, all point to planning, not accident. Another theory: a delayed collapse. Could the children have escaped through a window, only to perish in the freezing snow? But no footprints were found, no bodies, no signs of struggle. Or was it a kidnapping? Did someone take the children that night, alive, while the fire raged as a distraction? We may never know. But the evidence does not support the official story. The fire began upstairs, near the fuse box. But the fuse box was never examined. The wiring was never tested. The cause was declared without proof. Fire scientists confirm temperatures from a wood fire in a residential home rarely exceed 1,100 degrees, not enough to cremate a body. Bone fragments always remain, yet none were found. The Sodders were told their children turned to ash, but ash was not recovered. No urn, no remains, no official record. The house burned fast, but not fast enough to trap 5 children without warning. Smoke would have woken them. Screams would have been heard, but neighbors reported no cries, only flames. And then there are the anomalies. The phone line was cut, not burned. A melted wire would sag or blacken. This was a clean, sharp cut, as if with a tool. The ladder was missing. It was kept by the house for emergencies. But that night, it was gone. No one saw it removed. No one explained its absence. A neighbor tried to drive a truck to the house to help, but the chain snapped in an unusual way, delaying rescue. Another tried to call for help, but the line was dead. Coincidence? Or sabotage? The fire department arrived late. No water was available. The hydrant was frozen. But it had been working the day before. No forensic team came. No body recovery effort. No inquiry into the children's fate. The Sodders asked for a second opinion. They were denied. They dug through the ashes themselves. They found a green glass ball, possibly from a Christmas ornament, melted into a strange shape. Some believe it was a Molotov cocktail fragment, but no one tested it. They found a tire mark near the house, leading away into the woods, but no vehicle was reported. And then, the photo. In 1968, a woman mailed a photo to Jennie Sodder. It showed a young man in a military-style coat. On the back, Louis Sodder, 1968. The man looked like her son. Same face, same eyes. A detective traced the postmark to Clarksburg, West Virginia. The photo was linked to a bus station locker, but the man who rented it was never identified. Was it Louis? A look-alike? A hoax? We don't know. But the Sodders believed it was real. They believed their children were taken, not killed. They believed the fire was a diversion. And they believed someone wanted them to stop asking questions. Over the decades, researchers have examined the case. Some support the kidnapping theory. Others suggest a delayed collapse into a basement or crawl space. But no such space existed in the home. A 2019 forensic review concluded, the lack of remains cannot be explained by fire alone. Something else happened. George died in 1969, Jennie in 1989. They spent the rest of their lives searching, hoping, remembering. The 5 Sodder children were never found. No graves, no death certificates, no closure. Their story is not about ghosts. It is not about aliens or supernatural forces. It is about a family who lost everything, and a system that failed them. It is about the silence that follows tragedy when no one wants to listen. The Sodder case remains one of the most haunting unsolved mysteries in American history, not because of what we know, but because of what was erased. On December 24, 1945, the Sodder home stood intact. By dawn, it was gone, along with 5 children. No distress call was made. No emergency plan was followed. No investigation was conducted. The Sodder case is not solved. It is not closed. It is not forgotten. It is a story of love, loss, and the long cost of silence. George and Jennie Sodder never gave up. They kept photos of their missing children on the wall. They lit candles every Christmas. They spoke their names: Maurice, Martha, Louis, Betty, Sylvia. 5 lives, 5 futures, erased not by fire but by mystery. Their story is a warning. When institutions fail, families suffer. When truth is ignored, justice dies. The Sodder children did not vanish into thin air. They vanished into a system that refused to look. And so, their case remains open, not in files but in memory. Because some questions don't fade. They grow louder with time. This has been Hidden Case Log, video number 4. Next time we'll dive into another cold case from history's shadows. Until then, stay curious, stay cautious, and remember, some doors are better left unopened. Subscribe to Hidden Case Log, where mysteries never stay buried.